because I can't hear you. But you should also do it because it's really fun. It doesn't have to be good. It just has to be. This is me saying hello. What's up, how are you? This song is not too hard on us, but let me uncover you. This is me saying hello, 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 hello. Hello, you lovely people of the internet, and welcome to another Half Hour Hot with me, Caitlin. All right, today I was playing with Jelly when suddenly I heard a band playing outside, and that was super exciting because bands, music, is awesome sauce. But also it was confusing because it was jazz. I don't get jazz. I think that's kind of the point. I mean, why does jazz not make sense, but Jelly makes perfect sense? Well, and then I thought about it more, and Jelly isn't very straightforward either. For instance, what makes jelly jelly and jam jam? I don't know, I got really distracted thinking about these deep philosophical questions that I got jelly all over my fingers and my left elbow. Luckily, my cat sits it off, so I didn't have to take a bath. That reminded me of this one time. I was joking around with my really good friend, Juggler Just Joe, and he plays jazz in the streets of Chicago and lives there too. He's silly, he has a really big Adam's apple. Well, all this joking made me really hungry, and so I asked if he had any jelly, and he did, but he said we couldn't have any because he only had jelly. And you can't eat jelly alone, right? That's insane. So I was like, what are we gonna do? He's like, you know what, let me just go do my job and I'll afford something to go with the jelly. And I was like, you have a job? What's your job? He said, I play jazz in the streets. And I was like, jazz is a job? He's like, well, I do it and I get money for it. And so I guess, yeah, anything that you do for money is kind of a job. But jobs are really super boring. But I guess he really likes his. So I went with him and he said, do you want to play jazz with me? And I was like, I don't really know how. And he was like, it's easy because there's no rules. Wow, cool. I was so in. So we played jazz together. And, well, then he told me to stop because apparently I'm not good at jazz? That makes no sense. Because if there are no rules, then how can you be bad at jazz? Well, I guess we didn't make any money because of me to get something to go with the jelly, which was sad, but today I have jelly. And I also have a jazz instrument, which I'm going to play in our next segment. Jazz and jelly. JJJ. Yay! All right, so I'm gonna get out my jazzy instrument, and I'm gonna rock some jazz as my friend here is gonna eat some jelly. Ready? Ready. You can go finish that backstage. Well, we should really move on because even though obviously I know a lot about jazz and jelly, there's still so many questions about it. And our guest tonight probably knows so much because they're like a mega jumbo big deal. I mean, they do audio all over the city and they play in 2 bands, which you should really check out because like they're super rad. But for right now, let's welcome in our guest, Chris Lee. Yay! Hi, Chris. Hi. Oh, you can sit down. Oh, I'm a hugger.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. That makes me an expert.
And I just grabbed my secret box.
Oh
You
my.
can't see what's inside though. They can. So what's inside? These today. We're just gonna grab, as usual, just these. Top secret.
I didn't even know there was a secret box involved.
Oh yeah, I mean it was a secret, so
That makes sense.
can't reveal all the secrets so soon. I just well, I've known you for a little bit, but like off and on. We're not like besties yet.
Not yet.
Not
no.
yet. Okay. Are you ready?
Okay, sure, yeah.
Okay, good. That wasn't the first question though.
Okay.
Okay, now we're gonna get started. All right.
That's like when someone asks you, can I ask you a question?
Yeah, it's like what you just did.
Exactly.
I love that one. It's really silly.
Okay, hit me.
So this one's really big because like almost everyone has one, and I don't understand like what's really the point of jobs.
Oh, boy. You know, I would say for a lot of people, it's mostly just so they can put a roof over their heads.
Oh, like a hat?
Kind of, but like bigger, you know. I mean,
Oh,
I would say that's the main reason, but for some people, it's also just something to do, you know? It gives them a reason to get up in the morning. It's a reason to do the things they do, you know?
that's so true. So like overall jobs are good?
Yeah, I think being busy, doing something that you care about is important.
Definitely, definitely. So jobs are just about like surviving and doing stuff and
Kinda, yeah.
being, and, being good and having fun. Do you have fun at work?
I do, yes, yeah, definitely.
That's good. Well,
I'm lucky that way.
I'm glad that you're enjoying work now. But like everyone, I feel like complains about jobs all the time. So what's like the worst job you've ever had?
Well, personally, Caitlin, the first is tech support for Verizon.
Oh.
Yeah, basically I was attached to a phone for 10 hours a day and received calls from about
That's exciting.
whether their telephone or television wasn't working. And it was interesting in the sense that like I could see what was different between people from LA and Houston and New York. You got a lot of different kinds of people. But generally it was just like, okay, yeah, I'm sorry you're having that problem, but you just need to turn it off and then turn it back on again. And they'd be like, why? Why? It's your fault. And it was like, look, I didn't build this.
Didn't do anything.
Yeah.
But that isn't the golden rule. Do you know why that works?
I have no idea. I always told people, it's like you have to, it gets clogged with data. So,
Oh, that's confusing. Is that a real answer?
I mean, no one knows. No one knows.
knows.
If they knew, you wouldn't have to do it.
If you know, please comment because clearly no one hasn't figured out, but
Yeah.
the smart people know to do it.
It's true. It's the number one go-to fix, and it works 90% of the time. So
It does, and you're like, how do I fix that? I don't really know.
don't worry about it.
Don't worry about it. It's working. It's working.
Exactly.
So that was the worst job, even though it was cool to talk to all those people, it was like the worst part of it. Just the complaining.
Just having to sit there and just wait for someone to be angry at you, basically. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
that is really sad.
You know, it's they're just really coming to you because
Yeah, that doesn't sound very
think
nice.
about it. You're the front line complaint center.
Oh my gosh, that must have been really hard for you actually.
I mean, at least I was tech support, so I was helping them. I wasn't in billing where it's just like, well, all you're doing is asking for more money.
I know, it's like, listen, there's not enough chocolate bars in the world to pay for all these things.
Exactly.
It gets really expensive. All right,
Yeah.
well, on the other side, that doesn't sound great, but what's the best job you've ever had?
I mean, I'm currently doing it, which is working in live sound, and just working in sound in general, working in music. You were mentioning jazz earlier, I've had the pleasure of recording some jazz artists, and
Oh yeah.
yeah, I don't know, I think live sound is really good because, you're right in the nexus, in the center of hundreds or potentially thousands of people who are, trying to have a good time, and you're trying to just facilitate the energy, for all of that to happen.
Yeah, no, like you were literally like making the show happen because like they couldn't hear it without you.
Yeah, or they have to stand really, really close if they wanted to.
That would be a fun show.
Yeah, I mean, you can as long as you, plan accordingly. limit the number of people you can get into the venue.
Oh, true. Yeah, that's intimate is better, but like there's just like right up here as you play.
Yeah. Done shows like that for sure.
I think that musicians would appreciate that too.
Sometimes they definitely do. Yeah. I mean, especially jazz musicians.
Oh, that's I don't quite get them. We'll get there because that's a big topic. That makes no sense whatsoever. You can tell me it does. I don't. Maybe it will tonight. But you know, actually, it's really cool because in both your jobs, the first one and the best one, you're like helping people.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like I was. I think if I had a job in like sales or I don't know. Something where it just felt like I was just trying to take advantage of people, I just wouldn't be able to do it for even one day, you know?
Oh, you're so sweet. You're like a natural helper.
Yeah, I kind of feel like that's kind of what I do, yeah, basically.
That's really cool.
You know?
I love that for you. So, is there, you're already doing like your dream job, it sounds like, but is there a different job that you want one day?
I mean, I guess I would just like to get at the United Center,
That's
you
a
know?
nice, yeah.
And it'd just be so cool. I don't know. Just have that power to just be able to just hit, you know.
Yeah, hit the mark, get the sound like to cover a whole huge space. And they're playing, but like you're doing it.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, you know, playing is,
You play it.
in a sense, it's not. I mean, it just feels like natural, you know. I mean, it just. I don't ever feel like it's like I have to think too hard about it. So, I don't know. It doesn't feel like a job.
Okay, so do jobs have to be something that you're like, you know, say, what's that saying? Like, if you have fun at your job, you don't work like a day in your life. So, is that what your job or like should job be?
I guess honestly, if I was playing music every single day, and playing probably the same 1 hour set of music,
Yeah.
maybe that would make me feel a little less in love with the idea of playing music on stage. But that's exactly kind of why I decided not to do that.
That does make sense. Like, it's
Yeah.
like it's so fun and passionate, and like it would be really sad to see that go away.
Yeah, right, exactly. You know, because everything does become a job if you do it enough.
Yeah, yeah. So you just want to keep your job like something that you're proud of, you're helpful, but like not something that's gonna like ruin your joy.
Yeah, if you feel like you're still continuing to get better at it, and it still brings you a sense of satisfaction, that's good. And I feel like that's how I feel with live sound. I feel like it's always like I can just get a little better at it. Whereas if I'm playing, I mean, sometimes you have good shows, sometimes you have bad shows. You know, you can practice and you know you can tighten things up, but there's also just things that are outside of your control, and I don't know, it doesn't feel as much like a I don't know.
Growth.
Yeah, you know, I don't know.
No, that makes a lot of sense. It's interesting though, that like, you know, we can have jobs that, you know, you do all that work, but then like the jobs that are just fun almost turn not fun because of like the pressure to do it all the time. Like you have to like work all the time, you have to get really good at it, and like that's kind of good, but that's kind of unnecessary pressure. Why do they make jobs not fun?
Yeah, right.
Right.
Well, I mean, that's the thing. You have to just do it all the time. It's almost like, you know, some of the people who are just completely committed to this stuff are kind of a little crazy, and that's totally fine.
Being crazy isn't like always bad.
We need some crazy people sometimes to be really committed to and passionate about water sanitation.
That is really important.
You
I
know?
wonder if they have fun.
I don't know. I haven't talked to any of them. I'm sure they have their own reasons for why they wake up in the morning. You know?
I've never talked to one of them either. I wonder where they all hang out.
I don't know. Empty Bob?
Empty bottles. Empty bottles are a really cool place. They serve some like really dangerous drinks there, but they are so cool. With the cat too.
It's true, yeah. Maybe they would actually think that was unhygienic, so maybe they don't hang out there. I don't know. They would go to the bar with the cleanest water. They'd be like, yeah, this is the place to hang out.
I wonder where that is. Isn't all water a little unclean at this point? But water's also good for you.
I don't know. Definitely not the Green Mill, because look at the name. Green Mill? You don't want to hang out there if you're a water sanitation expert. Just say it. Just say it. Just say it.
No, yeah. But they do have jazz. I think.
They do.
Yeah.
That's their thing.
Yeah. Their thing is jazz. Oh, this is a big one. Okay, because like we all need jobs, kind of, and like jobs are every. Okay, well, like there's so many jobs.
Yeah.
But then like some jobs are worth more than other jobs. Why? Why? Make that make sense to me?
Well, I mean, I would like to say that it always makes sense to me, but I feel like when everything shut down during COVID-19, we kind of saw how it really didn't make a lot of sense because a lot of people who were paid a lot of money were just sitting in their houses, not really doing a whole lot, and people had to actually keep going out there and doing. Well, I think they had a kitten.
Well, we're getting
They had a kitten invasion. Oh well. But the people who are getting paid the least were the people who are having to go out there and actually do their job. So I really don't understand why, per se,
Yeah, that doesn't make sense to me.
some jobs get paid more than others.
Because like all the jobs that people do, like are kind of they're necessary for things to keep happening. I mean,
Society keep running, basically.
yeah, exactly. So I don't know why like other jobs like I don't understand why they get like a bunch of chocolate bars while like this other person only gets like one for working all day.
Yeah, it's hard to explain. I mean, I understand from my job. I mean, like I was saying, like if I screw up, then everybody hears it. So it's important that like the person who's responsible for the sound knows what they're doing and makes sure things don't sound bad.
Yeah.
Because even the band could be great. If it sounds bad, then the audience isn't going to be enjoying it. And
So true.
so, if you're going to be playing, if you're going to have a large venue, then you want to have a sound engineer who knows what they're doing. So it makes sense to then. There you go.
She's I feel like she's scheming. She might come out and do something.
It's only a matter of time until we get ambushed
Yeah.
by a kid.
What's like the biggest mistake you could make when like doing like live sound and audio over a live band?
Actually, have recently, I accidentally muted the lead singer in the middle of him talking to the audience. Yeah, I don't know. It was pretty funny because it was only for a very brief period, but he, he was a concert professional, so he just walked out and was just like,
Oh, okay, that's silly. That's
until I brought it back up, and then then he continued on. But
That's very nice. I like that was like a nice situation. Like me, people can be mean.
they can be, yeah, absolutely. That is actually pretty much what makes the night, whether or not it's fine or really tough, is whether the is easygoing or decides to be difficult.
Yeah. I mean, like hot take, but maybe the musician needed to be muted. Don't you ever feel like they talk too much?
I'm not one of those vindictive sound people. I mean, I know there's some out there.
Yeah, you sound really nice, like way too nice, and you're really good at your job. You know what you're doing.
Thank you.
Do you get paid that sort of musicians? Like, how much is your job worth?
I don't know what some musicians get paid sometimes, but I've heard sometimes that I do get paid more than musicians, and sometimes they're upset about that. But also, I'm there for a lot longer, and also my job isn't as fun as theirs is. Like I said, when I'm playing, I don't think of it as a job, So
Totally. I mean, like, yeah, no offense to musicians because they do hard work. They're talented. But yeah, like, I don't really think that any job is worth more than another job. But if I had to choose, and I'm not being biased, I do think that, like, your job should get paid a little bit more.
I don't know. I mean, because ultimately, I'm just there to assist the musicians. So I don't know. It really, I mean, the breakdown in the band decides how much they want to pay the drummer, how much they want to pay the keyboard player.
Wow.
So
Breaks down into more pieces of payment.
yeah, so the chocolate bars get divvied up even beyond just how much the band gets paid.
Wow.
Sometimes the lead singer might want to take half the chocolate bar by himself.
That's not nice. Shouldn't do that. That's also not good for you.
It's a lot of chocolate.
A lot of chocolate and like, I don't know, just give everyone a little bit of chocolate. Everyone should just like have enough chocolate to make it through the day. That's it.
Yeah, universal basic chocolate, UBC.
Yeah, if you see us flinching during this whole interview,
I got her foot.
there is a menace amongst us.
It's just the fun of having a kid.
Yeah. So much more fun than babies. My baby doesn't do anything.
You're right.
Yeah. Anyway. All right, first of all, do you enjoy chocolate?
I might be the weirdo here, but I don't really like sweet things. So
What?
I prefer chutneys. but
Chutneys. Oh,
let's
that's like,
not get into that.
isn't that a jam also?
It is like a jam, but it's made with things like cucumbers or, peppers.
Savory jam.
Basically, yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah. But I mean,
So you don't eat PB&J?
not since I was a kid, no. Actually, really, no.
Sometimes it's my go-to meal. They're like really fun. So you just don't like sweet things. That's it. That's the only reason you like jelly. The consistency, I guess, is fine. So like chutney.
Yeah. I mean, like everyone likes spreads, unless they're really weird.
It's a bit weird when I see someone just eating like. I love bread, but when it's just bread, like all the time.
Like the British beans on toast.
Beans on toast?
That's a thing.
That's kind of funny. Also, it kind of sounds like beans on toast. And that sounds really funny.
Well, toes also have toe jam, so they're, it's just all big circles.
Wait, there's toe jam?
Yeah. I mean, as a jelly aficionado, I'm surprised you don't know about toe jam because, that's like,
Yeah, I'm realizing I do not know that much about jam.
it's one of the most organic forms of jam out there,
Oh, so
really.
it's healthy then, okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
How do you make it? Do you know how to make it?
Yeah, you just wear sweaty socks
Okay.
with perfectly cotton for like at least a day, and then just harvest it from between your toes.
Okay, so you get it from not the socks. You like get out.
No, you gotta, it's like belly button lint, it's like really, you gotta let it ferment in there,
Got it. And like the longer, I'm guessing, like the better, like the stronger.
Oh yeah, it's like gotta have that patois.
Okay, you know what? Maybe I'll make some toe jam and like I'll sell it.
Yeah, you certainly could.
I wonder if there's a place to sell that.
Logan Square Farmers Market might take it. Yeah.
Oh yeah, they love organic stuff up there.
Yeah, they really do.
Yeah, they change.
They're big on that.
Yeah. Okay, well, this sounds like the weirdest thing you could do with jelly is the toe jam thing, but what's the weirdest thing you've done with jelly?
Only weirdest thing I've ever done with jelly is make it.
You make jelly?
Yeah. I've made.
And you don't eat it?
Well, back in the day, I was really interested. No, not when I was a kid. I was like, I don't know, maybe 19 or something. I got really into the idea of just like doing things like preserving. I had like a garden, so I was preserving, like jarring, canning.
Yeah.
And so I found a mulberry tree, funny enough, outside of a Whole Foods.
Really?
So, I just parked my car under the mulberry tree, picked all those mulberries off of it, and then I just made mulberry jam.
Oh my god.
Mulberry jelly, actually.
It's jelly. What is the difference? Do you know what's jelly, what's jam?
So, you were mentioning this in your intro song, or intro monologue, I guess?
Yeah.
So, I actually know this. Here's a fun fact for you kids.
Told you to be smart.
The difference between jelly and jam is that jelly has the fruit pulp removed from it. So it's more consistent in texture. Whereas jam is a little thicker, has like all the actual pulp of the fruit involved in it.
Wow. So
you go.
interesting. I feel like it's like on a hierarchy, jelly and jam, but I mean, like they don't have that hierarchy over orange juice, do they? Pulp and no pulp.
Well, I mean, kind of, because I mean, pulp was the default, and then no pulp involved technology.
Technology.
So same thing, I mean, like jam was the OG, and then jelly was the flashy technology version.
Right, but I feel like the classy one is to go with the OG.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to really be like OG, just go with preserves, because that's all fruits. Doesn't involve pectin. And I'm not gonna go pectin. Pectin's a whole.
I feel like if I talk about it, I might not be able to move on from it.
What?
What is it? Pectin?
Pectin, yeah. That's what you have to do in order. Okay, so some fruits have enough pectin in them to form into jellies. And some fruits you have to add pectin into it in order to form into a jelly or a jam. And so also here's another thing, marmalades are only with citrus fruits, which also contain only a certain amount of pectin in them to form the consistency of marmalade. So there you go.
I literally thought that I was gonna like blow your mind and open your mind. I don't know if your mind is already blown about this stuff. My mind is being like, it's exploding. It's all over the room.
Yeah, I've had to actually buy. I was making that.
Jelly.
Yeah, I can't remember if it was jelly or jam. I don't know mulberries. I don't know where they fall because I know you can make cranberry jelly. Mulberries are pretty close, so I have made cranberry jam, but I did have to buy pectin. So I think
What is pectin? I don't even know.
I think it's okay. I think it's like it's a chemical structure that sugars can bind to that makes it gooey, and that's all that really matters. And we've got a kitten attack still going on. Kittens
We're
up!
on the front line. But it's time to learn about pectin. It's what?
Is it? I don't know.
I don't know. I know
There's
this
not
is
much to learn about pectin. Pectin is what makes jelly, and jams. If the fruit that you're making the jelly and jam out of doesn't have enough pectin in it, you have to add pectin to it. That's all you need to know, folks. You can buy pectin at your local health food store, probably.
if you have one of those. Some don't.
Because yeah, I mean, you can make. I mean, I don't want to go through all the fruits, but some fruits you can do it, some fruits you can't without adding pectin.
I mean, oh
What's that?
my gosh, we're just gonna take this rascal.
Oh, now it's just on camera. There you go. Yeah.
You have
Now you can just be like a James Bond villain and just.
I am gonna get pectin for my. Oh, that's my microphone. Do you want to say something? Let's just sniff. She just sniffed at me.
Nothing.
Yeah, that's so the weirdest thing you've done is just make it and not eat it. That is pretty weird.
I mean,
And something with pectin, which you're like a little. I mean, you kind of answered, but you're being a little mysterious about it. So I'm assuming that it's weird. I don't know. You're not like that. Like you're not like you.
I don't want to get too far into the weeds about what pectin is because it's basically just it's a chemical chain that just binds the sugars and then it makes them.
The sound made the most sense out of everything you said.
There you go. Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
Okay.
It's a compound.
Yes.
Yeah.
That. Okay. Now I get all the difference between jelly, jam, chutney, marmalade. The marmalade thing also blew my mind. All right, well, do you have any advice for anyone who's planning on using jelly in the near future?
I guess when you say that, I think about my nieces. Just don't get it on your hand, because that's all sticky. That just makes it tough for everybody.
It does. It's really hard when you got jelly on your hands.
Yeah.
Especially if you don't have like a cat to lick it all up. The jelly's not on there. You already got it all.
I mean, I don't have any like culinary tips.
No like warning labels or.
Hey kids, you want? Here's a food hack. Mix jelly. I don't know.
Oatmeal.
Well, that sounds pretty good. That does sound pretty good, actually. Do that. Try that out. And then comment if it works for you.
Yeah, we want to know what you think about it. Oh man, she just distracted me so much. I was gonna say something else about jelly, but maybe I'll remember later.
Everybody is jelly of the attention that you're giving to your cat.
OMG, you're having like all the techniques. Okay, one time we set the fire alarm out, so this is going pretty smooth in my opinion.
It was too fire, huh?
It really was. It was hot. It was burning. She is so funny. Like, we should put a camera on her next time.
That's what I'm saying.
Her own personal-
Like, yeah, GoPro, it's attached. Yeah.
Just like play in the corner of this video. What's your kitten up to now? All right, I'm like actually a little afraid to get into this last one because I thought the jelly was like gonna be complicated-ish.
Yeah.
This one is. Do you get jazz?
Do I get jazz?
Do you get it? Understand it?
Does anyone really get jazz? No,
Do they? I feel like they're fake.
I don't know. That's a weird question to ask. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I feel like I get it, but
What is
how do you know that you get jazz?
That's the thing. Like they're more mysterious than you are about pectin. And they're always like very like, vague about it. They're like, oh, jazz. There are no rules. You make it up. You work with it all. But
Yeah.
then, like everyone's like it almost feels like a slam poetry night where like you hear jazz and you're like.
Well, see, I mean, I feel like I get jazz better than I get slam poetry, so.
But there are no words.
I don't know.
I'm not even explaining. Well, sometimes there are in jazz like this, but I feel like the music is the weirdest thing to understand.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'd say that as a musician, I understand that it's just musicians communicating with each other, you know?
True. I mean, I just don't speak jazz.
And even if they're not communicating to each other, I guess they're also just expressing a thought, you know? And I mean, I guess it's like, yeah, I mean, I feel like maybe jazz has this sort of like mythical sort of aura around it because it intentionally kind of has tried to weave itself into the most like musician friendly. Oh, there you go.
She's leaving
Kidding
herself
Noah.
into this interview.
I think that's jazz right there.
Jazz.
Let's get.
I get scattered. What about
Yeah, you know, I mean, I don't know. It's like, cause I don't know. I don't really think of like jazz as like this whole crazy thing outside of other kinds of music.
Well, yeah, so, okay, but then, like, what is jazz? So, like, you listen to music, you're like, oh, that's rock, that's pop. I mean, there's a lot of subgenres these days.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
who knows anything? But what is jazz?
See, that's why I feel like it's like it's become like its own like this weird thing that has become defined outside of itself. Because I mean, I think about like I grew up in Ohio and with bluegrass musicians.
Okay,
That
yeah.
was some of my favorite early jam sessions learning how to play music was with bluegrass musicians. And it's the same idea. You have a song that kind of everybody kind of knows, really simple, and then you all trade solos on it, you know, and then, you know, you decide kind of when it's over, you know? And that's basically the form that jazz traditionally has. I mean, there's free jazz. I don't really think there's really necessarily free bluegrass, but I mean, there probably is. I don't know.
There's a genre for everything now. Like,
Yeah,
I don't know why.
you know.
I got bored and just started being like, it's.
I mean, that just probably just doesn't have a name. I mean, I could call it jazz, you know? I mean, whatever.
Yeah, I mean, I guess like it'd be kind of funny to like hear like a rock band like that's jazz, heavy metal, that's jazz.
Yeah, you know, I mean,
I feel like
yeah.
jazz always has saxophones.
I mean, but also there's jazz trios where there's no brass, you know, just piano, stand-up or upright bass, and drums.
That's also pretty cool. I just wish I like understood. It's just like okay, well like I was always not always, but like when I learned about jazz a little bit more, they're like there are no rules. So how are you doing jazz right or wrong if there are no rules?
Well, I mean, the idea that there's no rules is maybe a too broad because I mean, like I said, there is free jazz where there literally is no rules. But that's a small section of jazz. Once again, also, what is jazz? So I don't know. But I think generally jazz is just sort of like I said, a conversation between musicians. So you know, it's like you know, it's like asking what is a conversation. You know, I mean, right, exactly. It's the same thing.
Okay, yeah. Well,
You know, like what defines a conversation? You mean, a conversation could be very minimal. It could just be like, yeah, dude, bro, dude, yeah, dude, bro, dude.
yeah, that doesn't make sense.
That could be a conversation, and that would be a form of. Oh, I don't know what that would look like in jazz, but. Exactly.
Yeah. Actually, I like the idea of like turning conversations into music.
Right.
That does kind of like okay. It just sounds like a different language I don't speak, and so it does sound a little bit more fun to like listen in and be like, like just a little more curious as I'm listening
Right,
instead
yeah.
of like stumped, totally stumped.
Right. It's you know, I mean, and for I think for a lot of people, that's why it seems cryptic because it's like, oh, it's for musicians, but also it's like, you know, it's still. Like, I don't know. Sometimes I think what people are talking about, but it's interesting to listen to what they're saying.
Yeah.
You know?
That's like a really nice way of looking at it. Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna try jazz out again and see what I get out of it.
Yeah, just think of it as a conversation.
Yeah. This is really inspiring, actually. You're inspiring me. Okay, do you know where did jazz come from, though, and why?
Well, okay, the origins of jazz basically are in New Orleans because it's a big melting pot of influences from sort of the the French and Spanish influences of colonialism of their respective, guitar, you got accordion, you got their folk influences coming in there, which then kind of sort of also blended with Celtic music, which was then its own kind of like became kind of country music-ish kind of this thing. But then you also had, of course, the slaves, at the time. And their kind of music from Africa, which was, heavily influenced by African rhythms. And then, also then you had slaves coming from the Caribbean, bringing with them the native rhythms from the Afro-Cuban diaspora as well.
Wow.
And that all became a big mixing pot.
Yeah.
And then the culture of New Orleans, where specifically where slaves were allowed to just have one day off every week, which was really not common in the rest of America. So they got to come together and they got to meet in a marketplace, specifically in New Orleans, and just kind of jam with each other.
That is actually so cool. I like that was because I'm thinking about the conversation thing, and we have all these different types of people, different inspirations, all over the world, and it's like they found a way to talk to each other.
Right, exactly. Without the common language outside of music.
Yeah, and they just combined all their yes and. Aww.
Well, I got a fiddle. Well, I got an accordion. Well, and here's some rhythms. Let's go.
Two different types of rhythms too.
Yeah, right, exactly.
That's why it's confusing. Maybe.
Well, that's why it turned into something really unique and amazing, which is the foundation of American music. Really, if you look at it,
is jazz.
I mean, what's the most distinctive, identifiable American form of music? I mean, it basically became. It grew up, from from the 1890s and ragtime and stuff like that into big band and show tunes and stuff like that in the 20s, 30s, 40s, and then became rock and roll in the 50s and 60s. I mean, it just all springs up out of that bed of influences, just mixing it, that gumbo, as they like to say.
Yeah, I was gonna say gumbo.
Yeah.
Aww.
Yeah.
I wish I could go back there. Well, maybe not.
Yeah. It would be interesting to just kind of. I would love to see Louis Armstrong, in his prime. It would be interesting to see how people reacted to that the first time they ever heard it,
Yeah. Well, boy, I mean, the way the technology's going, you might be able to. Not literally in a time machine, but I feel they'll do something with VR, AI, fake time travel.
It'd be really cool, if we could take some of those early recordings, from the 1920s on those old acetate discs and I don't know, somehow punch them up into some experience that you could just feel like you're right there.
Yeah.
I don't know.
That would be cool. Maybe I don't know if I'm into all that stuff, but it'd be interesting.
Yeah.
So jazz developed into all these other genres.
Yeah.
But what do you think is next? Where's jazz going?
I mean, I don't know. That's what I'm saying. That's why I think that the idea of jazz is sort of this box that is old, kind of an old term. Because I feel like a lot of the jazz artists I hear now are doing a lot of hip hop influenced stuff and sort of stuff that I guess can now be called soul or R&B kind of. But it's it's sort of groove based. It's the kind of stuff that I feel like you would go to a hip coffee shop and you'd hear it and you'd be like, oh, this is cool. But it wouldn't strike you as jazz. Yeah, exactly.
Where does jazz come into play with jazz? Related even?
I mean, there's an element of showmanship to any kind of genre of music, and I mean, like I said, jazz became associated with a lot of back in the 1930s and 40s. It was the genre of music for all America.
Someone showed up and was like, I don't know how to play an instrument, but I can dance.
Yeah, tap dancing was huge. Dancing in general. People just used to go to theaters and just watch hundreds of people dancing on a screen.
Aww. There should be more dancing in the world.
Yeah, we need more musicals. Bring them back. Giant musicals.
New musicals, too. I don't know, I've seen this movie.
Just instead of these dramas where everybody's just
the modern
dealing with their
genres,
bros.
yeah.
Just all of a sudden, poof, the backdrop falls away. Just hands kicking in from the left and right, and all of a sudden, a top hat.
Yes, no, yeah. The song coming to the musical where it actually doesn't really make sense.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Song.
And a 1. Yeah.
2. It's in 1, 2, or 2, 4, or 5, 6.
Exactly, yes.
Yes.
It's a 2-4.
2, 4.
Unspoken 5-4. We're just gonna let the 3 other beats are rest.
It's good to rest. Wow, those are like all my questions. I learned too much, baby. But no, I'm glad
Okay.
No, you did teach me a lot. You gave me a lot to consider. But do you have anything you want to say before we move on to the next segment?
Well, I mean, we were talking about the evolution of jazz music, and one of the evolutions, in my opinion, is my band Beastie, who's releasing an album September 13th.
And you guys always drop like songs like leading up to it, right?
Yeah, we've been dropping one every Friday, so.
Ooh, Friday. It's a good day.
My band Beastie, it's Beastii.
Yes, the double I. That's what makes it look really cool sometimes.
Having a kitty on set is just like literally cheat codes.
I wish this was oh, she wants to be smart.
Okay.
Here, let's do it again. Ready? The count 3 gonna send in Les Miserables job.
Les Miserables job.
Yay! So, jobs are always like really boring. This one's like a really boring job, and like a really boring job, you sometimes have to give like a presentation about like really boring things. But this is like a nightmare situation where you don't remember what you have to prepare.
Okay.
So we're just gonna like present our presentation without really knowing what we're presenting.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
So I'm okay. All right. So this is where I'm faking the book report, huh?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Oh.
Ready?
My report. A report by me reporting on stuff you need to know right now. So we begin. Initial thoughts. Those are the most important thoughts. I've worked. Big fan of thoughts. All kinds. And so while we load this thought-filled presentation, I'd like to just open the forum to anybody to think about their thoughts.
I think you're doing great.
Thank you. Yeah, and so, our company, I would say, based on a foundation of thought. The most important thing about us is that 75% of our profit is in, and some of our thoughts are not great, which is why we have the panic button, which, unfortunately, I might slide a little fast on that. Well, I have solutions. Number 1, we're going to get the crayons, pop our way into a win, we got hustle, and, obviously we're going to get some meetings about the problems around our thoughts that are not bringing us profit, that's the main thing that we're focused on in this enterprise. You can see here we got a little chart here. We've got points that have been scored. The ones that are scored more are the ones we're going to focus on. Actually, not as much as the ones that didn't score. Those are the further scored ones. So, let's not forget why we're here, okay? Because in this sport, we have to keep our eye on the prize, right? As you can see, we're refocusing our brand on the things our customers have been asking about, which is more banana sundaes. More banana splits, sorry. Yeah. And I think everyone's going to agree that those are the most important things that we should be focusing our brand on. So in conclusion, everyone has a task. We need to get those banana splits that Sunday. Because any given Sunday, folks. And don't forget to look at your information. And in conclusion, I would say that we can do this if we just all band together, synergize. That's the most important thing. Thank you.
Woo! Let's get that Sunday team. Oh my gosh. So, in my presentation, I am going to tell you about charts and graphs because they also have information that you need And I'm gonna tell you why. In case you don't know, which is okay if you don't know, like, well, you'll find out. Because, like, last week we had 3 new charts, and there's like lots of new data now. Because, like, we learned so much, which is great. I love learning. You love learning. I hope so, because, like, learning's been good for you, like, kind of like water. And of course, like, eagle is a part of it, because eagle is like this country, and we're in this country. Whether you like it or not, I mean, like, I'm sorry if you don't, but also get it if you don't, also, or you do. If you do, forget about the eagle, because there's new data, and I'm sure there's more data than just this eagle, which I'm gonna get into this week, because, like, this week, we are fresh, something more fresh, because, like, we showered, and there's a new style, which I love new styles, because, like, the same dress every week is, like, really boring, so I'm glad that you guys are dressing up, this is what I'm getting from my report. This is on like reports. It's just like blah, 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 blah. And that's like so productive. As you can see, we're like going up and up and up, and then like we're looking like oh man down, and now we're going up again. But there's more. Get this. You gotta get the new Google. There's a new Google that you gotta get. I'm pretty sure. And a rat. There's a rat, and it just all goes in a circle. It's like, oh, 1, blah, 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 2, blah, 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 3, blah, blah. And so the light blue was like before, when we were like, ha ha ha. And now we're big blue, just like, ha ha ha. And I just think that like with all these graphs we're making, you can like really turn it into a smiley face graph where it goes down. Wait, why you're asking? Let me give you a timeline. Because at the beginning, it's just like the new tropical way of being in the tropics, which we're not. And so we have to think of a new way. And if you break this into like sections, there's like a big section, which is like most of it, and then there's like a medium-ish section, just like some of it, and then like, there's a bigger graph. It's the same thing, big, medium, and there's like all these graphs. You know, we get more graphs as the time goes on, and that's why we gotta run. We gotta run and get these graphs done. Run to get those graphs done. Run to get those graphs done. And so yeah, those are some cool new layouts with information, with facts, with colors. Don't forget that. The colors help us understand and have fun. Because, you know, work sucks, but we should have fun while we make these graphs. Because, like, I don't really get graphs, but it's fun to look at the colors. And, yeah. Go team. Go team, go. Thank you. Awesome. I'm glad that my job doesn't suck that much.
Yeah, you know, I mean, I don't have to give presentations, thankfully.
No, yeah, I don't. Oh, you know, I guess I'm like always presenting myself. Like I'm kind of presenting now. You get to like kind of.
I have to present bands, but you know, if anything goes wrong, I can just say it's not my fault.
Yeah. I got another guy who can show you that data or whatever. All right, so we talked about dancing a little bit earlier, right? And like, there should be more of it. And I agree.
True.
But do you ever feel like dancing, like just like a little pressure around it? That's why it's like hard.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, and I think it's so unnatural and unhuman. Like, it's really human to just like move. That's what I want to focus on tonight. We're gonna have our next segment, which is just to move your body. We got copyright free. Huh?
Yeah, of course.
That's
Yeah,
some
great.
combo music too. Good. Wow, I learned like so much, as I already said like 5,000 times, because like learned that like jobs can be fun, but if they're fun, then maybe it's bad. I learned that jelly is a lot more complex than just jelly, and like there is a difference between jelly, jam, marmalade, chutney. They're kind of related though too.
Yeah?
It's like having cousins.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I also learned that jazz is like really beautiful. Even though you don't understand it, like it's kind of beautiful that they get it themselves.
Well, yeah. I don't know. I mean, I guess I learned that maybe I need to open my mind as to what possibilities there are for jelly, you know?
Yeah, I get that sense.
Maybe I need to look at my own jelly relationship a little more.
True, you know, it's like never too late to just like try it again and be like, or
Yeah. You reminded me of why jelly's good to begin with.
Yeah. Chutney's cool, but like, yeah, there's so much out there. So give it a try, you know, DM me, and then we can like, that's how we become besties, is like over jelly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, okay, I've had so much fun, but like, we gotta say goodbye now. It's time to go. Do you want to help me? I like to sing goodbye to everybody.
Okay, sure, yeah.
You can like, I have like instruments. I have like a cello, a baby, a saxophone, a piano.
I can play piano.
Okay. I hope I remember the chords.
Yeah, just let me know.
The first one is like,
C? That'd be great.
I wish. I was like, let me.
G?
I wish.
Ah.
I was supposed to play it a few times. I think it's. What's that? F sharp major. I think it's F sharp major. And then D sharp minor. And then B.
That sounds right.
Yeah. C
E? No. Okay. So,
My friends, don't you know it's the end of the show? Yeah, we had fun from the start. Now it's done. Time to part. Goodbye, 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 Oh my gosh, check out YouTube, you see what you mentioned, also Bloodhype, they're so cool. And yeah, I'll see you next week with like more haws.
thank you for having me.
Always! Well, it's the next week.